absence of lights.
Hey YouTube, hope you guys enjoyed the new intro I'm working on. If you did, please leave a like on it so I can continue working on it. I can maybe edit a picture, edit some animation on it so it can look cool and sound cool as well. If we get 30 likes on this video, I'll edit it as soon as possible, like within the next video. If we get less, it may take some more time because I don't know if I would just less prioritize it than other things I have to do. So if you liked it, please tell me, and please, if you have any suggestions on what the background should be or like the animation or anything, please tell me because I want to hear what you guys have to say about it. So, and also if you don't like it, please leave that in the comment section as well, because if you don't like it, I don't want to subject half my fan base or people who are enjoying videos to something that they don't like. So if you don't like it, please tell me that as well. Anyways, on this video, I'm going to do a how to get better at the game of Yugioh segment, as I haven't done this in a long time. That's what I want to continue with. But since I haven't done it in a long time, I am going to combine two segments, two very important topics to talk about, which are going to be tech cards and side decking. These two things are extremely important, so I advise you, if you don't know much about either one of them, listen closely, because you need to get as much out of this as possible, as they're very important. The first topic I'm going to talk about is tech cards. Teching cards are a way to make your deck have just a bit of an edge versus the normal build based on like where you are, your location, and things. Tech cards are usually and should really always be implemented after knowing how the deck runs, how to play the deck, and how it works. Because you put tech cards in without knowing how the original deck runs, you could think that tech cards are doing really well, but in reality, the card you replaced it with would have been a lot better. Anyways, I could really do a whole video on how to explain tech card, or what is a tech card, what's not tech card. Some people can say Gateway is a tech card and Dark World. Other people can say no, tech cards supposed to be cards that like rarely ever ran, like a drastic drop off or something. But I can do a whole video explaining that, but I'll just leave that to player's preference. But I am going to talk about is what tech cards to use and how do you know if it's working well. So firstly, how to figure out what tech card to use. You don't, or at least you really shouldn't, but a lot of players do it anyway, so I don't know why. You use somebody else's tech cards, especially if you get on YouTube and their locals winning deck or their regionals winning deck. Their meta could be a lot different from the meta you're playing with, and it could likely work for them, but could really not work for you. Tech cards should be implemented to help fight your own meta game. So when trying to find out what tech cards to use, try to find out testing different ideas rather than using what random people say on the internet. The tech should accomplish your problem instead of making an unnecessary amount of cards to do so. So let me rephrase that. The tech card you run should accomplish the problem you're having, and you shouldn't really need many different cards to do so. For example, if you're playing a deck that has consistent hand advantage but dies to, let's say, XYZ deck and also dies to macro and D-fissure, running compost, balance, and MST as techs, as in the deck you run don't normally run them anyways. This is an example, by the way, it's probably a bad one, but I think you should know what I'm saying. But running compost, balance, MST makes load deck down to do what it's supposed to do. But running a card such as Geki Break, which disrupts XYZs, destroys XYZ monsters that are already on the field, and get rid of banishing cards like macro and D-fissure, accomplish that problem, and has 2 or 3 cards less to waste. So try to implement cards that just accomplish your problem or helps you build that edge. Don't just accomplish many different cards to do many different goals. As you have more cards, the less techy they are and more centralized when you build. Like I said, for example, I'll try to explain what I just said. If I run a Sorello in Dark World, so if I run one copy of Sorello, you tech a copy of Sorello, because you don't have really anything else to do with it. You just tech a copy of Sorello. If I want to tech 3 copies of Sorello and 3 copies of Silva, you didn't tech 3 copies of both. It's really just a Sorello Dark World deck. So if you want a standard Dark World deck with Sorello, try to stick with 1 and 2 and maybe a Silva or something, but don't continually add cards that may change the goal of the deck or what the deck normally does anyways. Now I'm going to move on how do you know if your tech card is working well. To find if it's better than the card you replaced it with, because normally you run the regular build before you try checking it out. So you then replace cards from that build with the cards you like running. So to find out if it's working better with than you replace it with, simply pretend that every time you draw that card, it's the card that was replaced. For example, if I replace Lila with Mystical Space Typhoon, I want to pretend that every time I have a Mystical Space Typhoon in my hand, I'll imagine it's Lila to see whether or not the card would have been better or worse. And to do this though, you should never go off 1 or 2 duels, but rather play a lot of duels 20, 30, 40, 50 to see the most consistent results. Or Ms would have been better 38 times better than Lila, but Lila would have been better 12 times, or it didn't really matter other 15 times. I don't know, just based on your results, which would have been better. But if you use this method, you should really only tech 1 card at a time, because it could get difficult between 3 different cards in your decks or 3 other cards in your deck, and pretend this is that and this is that. That can be extremely confusing. Another method you could try is Another method you could try is comparing your win ratios of duels before the tech and after the tech. But doing this may be a bit more unreliable than the other method. Because if you happen to lose 50% of your duels today because you're having a bad day, and then the next day you lose only 30%, but the tech card had nothing to do with it, you could have some unreliability with that because it'll make you think the tech card's been working well, but in reality it hasn't done anything and could have been worse than the card you replaced it with. So if you do this, I'll recommend doing way more than 50 duels, maybe 100 or 200. Or just do the other method on individual cards to see which one is better. So that really covers up the basics of tech cards. So I'm now going to do a brief explanation on side decking. Side decks are used in a match when you can switch out up to 15 cards in your main deck to 15 cards in your side deck that may fare a better matchup against your opponent. To be good at it, you really have to know what hurts your opponent the most when siding in, and you really have to know how well you fare against a particular matchup to know whether or not you should devote space to it, and you should probably have a bit of experience with it. Continue doing it over and over again. You may lose some, you may win some, you may find out that this card actually is not very good versus this deck, but this card is surprisingly very good versus this deck. When I was new to side decking, I always use for every matchup 3 prohibitions, because in theory it can destroy all decks and force your opponent wastes the MST on it, which is particularly powerful if you play a heavy trap card deck, especially not a heavy storming fan. However, as you get better at siding, you may find that other cards may accomplish the same thing, but could bring more synergy to your strategy. Such as studying Thunder King when you already have a light deck versus Spellbooks. Well, Thunder King's probably bad, but only on 1. Let's pretend Thunder King's at 3. So that's studying Prohibition, it costs Spellbook with Secrets. If you study through Thunder King, that also is good because you have Honest in your deck. It's also good you run a lot of trap cards, so if they Kaiko it, you can destroy it or Honest it away. So you find cards that can make your strategy more consistent while still accomplishing the same goal. Also, something very key that a lot of people don't really think of is if you sat out 12 to 15 cards in a game, especially if there are cards that are essential to your strategy, you may have a very tough time getting the game rolling. Don't forget your opponent's side cards, you may have a lot less cards that can make your strategy continue to work, but it can set out cards that will still harm you a lot. So try to stick to a little bit of side decking that hurts your opponent. Just do the bare minimum you need to win. Besides oversiding 3 copies of 3 different cards and try to hurt your opponent. And before I forget, I see a lot of players, particularly on Facebook groups, or I sometimes read local reports to see how people do, or things like that. Like maybe sometimes on TCG Player, they say, "What about people comment? What about side deck?" They comment back, "I don't need side deck. The main deck works fine on its own." Now, by all means, if you're a non-competitive player and you simply are casual and you just like playing for fun, continue not having a side deck. But if you want to be competitive, you have to have a side deck of some cards. 3 Prohibition, 3 Cloak and Dagger. You have to have something in a side deck of some sort. Because don't forget, your opponent put in cards specifically to beat you, and there is no deck in the game, besides maybe Dragon Lord before, but that's not relevant anymore, So there's no more deck in the game that can beat deck consistently without having to change anything in a deck. Which not anything in your deck, while your opponent sizing cards that may be useless against your matchup, and size back end cards that are great against your matchup. So don't always have a side deck. Besides, if you don't care about matches, you don't play singles, or you just don't care about winning or losing. You keep practicing this siding, and you keep practicing. So I lost my train of thought. If you keep practicing teching cards, you can get better results. So don't just quit. Oh my god, stuck at siding, I'm just not gonna do it. Oh my god, no, I hate techs. I never find good ones. You're just gonna find that standard build and win. Don't do that. Just keep practicing at them. Keep trying different card choices and keep figuring out what siding cards are good. So yeah, that's really the video. If you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment section below. You have any suggestions in the intro? Like I said, leave that in the comment section below. If you like these segments, please leave a like. I'm liking the segments. I'm probably going to continue more. So, but I don't know if you guys like it. So if I get 25 likes, I'm going to continue the segment. If I don't, I may try to think of another segment, or I may still continue the segment, but it may take more time to actually do another video because a lot of people don't like it. No point to try to rush it. So if you do love these segments, make sure to make a like, leave a like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching it. Absence of Light out.